those 2-3 months, I was very sad. In fact, I also tried attempting suicide. It turned out that most of these people have joined their respective streams because of societal stereotype. They had formed an image that made them believe that if I join any form of engineering, and especially this form of engineering, I'll come out earning a lot of good money. For a long time, I had to stay off one meal a day. In the morning, I used to eat a lot, and then I used to go out and not eat throughout the day. I was getting really thin. Everyone should have an exposure, whether in school or college, to entrepreneurship, because that will teach them about life.
I am Asif and you're listening to the Nugget Show, a podcast that inspires people to make impact and pursue their passion. I'm sitting down with people who have chosen to pursue their passion, to talk about their process and the learnings which they have learned during their process and how to make it. So welcome Aditya to our show. Thank you for joining us to this show today morning. So we'll just get started by can you share your journey, like how you got started, what was your school journey, like everything in between from what you are doing now. Yeah.
Hi, Asif. Thank you so much for having me on this show.
Mhm.
So, about my journey, it was a pretty normal one. I did not have a very different journey from other people initially. So, in school, most of what I was concerned with was that I should be securing either first rank or second rank in class, preferably first, obviously. So, that's what I directed my all efforts towards. And otherwise, I was just concerned with having the most fun possible in a day. So, I used to try and optimize for lesser studies at home. So what I did is, let's say I received a homework in class, I would try and do it in class so that I don't have to take it to home. I did not take up tuition for the very same reason. Then I was also, I had also kind of figured out a way around education system. So what I did is, every time an exam would come, I would mug up the whole book 2-3 days ago with a lot of effort put in, like, the engineering students do now, or any higher education student would do now. I would do that in school only. So in school, I would just put like 16-18 hours of work a day, 2-3 days, 4 days before an exam, and kind of mug up the whole book, vomit it out in exams, and then I would secure a decent percentage. So this was most of what I was doing in school. And then there were minor other things which I was also, experiencing. So during my initial part of childhood, I also experienced bullying. Then I became a really angry kid, so I started beating up a lot of kids because of minor kind of, things that they used to tease me with. So let's say if they call me battery, so that Rais film, have you watched it?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so I could relate very much with why Shah Rukh Khan got angry when he was called battery. Yeah, exactly the same thing, So if I was coming back from school, some government school kid would call me battery, I would just go and beat him up. And then obviously they also won't, take it lying down. So they also used to kind of, whenever I used to come from that path again, and they were more in number, attack. So over time, I, experienced a lot of things here and there, and I realized that, I really wanted to do well in life, like any other thing. So I learned a lot of things through my childhood only, like, how to deal with bullying, how to deal with hostile groups which don't favor you a lot, or where, you don't have a lot of people who like you, how to still stay in that group and survive for the time being. Um, then how to, work your way around the education system, which helps you secure a good percentage, but then you also have good fun, because at home, I hardly studied apart from exam time. So I had a decent knowledge about everything around me, what are the reality shows, who are the contestants, in which sport, which team is winning, how many players are, like which players are playing in each cricket team, which players are playing in which football team. I had decent general knowledge, and I used to play computer games also. I used to play downstairs also. So I was living a pretty much complete life. And over time, when I was in class 10th, I did not think much about making my own career choice, because it almost seemed like a very straight and clear path. I never had to consider too many options at that time, because my elder brother was also doing computer engineering and had, just joined a job for that. I was also thinking that I should do computer engineering, partly because I knew of that career option very closely, since my elder brother had done it, and partly because I also seem to be very good at computers. So when I say good at computers, what does that mean? That basically means that I was good at fixing small problems with the computer. Like किसी का Windows corrupt हो गया तो भाई format कर दे मेरी Windows drive, I would do that. Antivirus install kar de. So that is what I mean by being good at computers, not like computer programming. So I knew that it requires computer programming, but I did not exactly know what computer programming was by that time. But I took non-medical science like many students do these days. So I took up physics, chemistry, maths, and then I took up physical education. Now, why did I take up physical education if I want to become a computer scientist? Because I figured out that computer science basics they teach you in the first year also. So I don't need to study that in 11th and 12th. I would rather focus on the IIT JEE exam. So that's what I did. The next 2 years were a little hard because my methods did not seem to work as well as they were working in 10th. Like, mugging up the whole thing 2-3 days ago and spitting it out in exams. So now my percentage started lowering. Now my performance also wasn't as good as it used to be till 10th class. So I started finding it a bit difficult, and somehow it also looked like I was getting exhausted from studies. There comes a point in your life that if you're not interested in studies, then you don't want to do it anymore with that zeal. So that's what started happening with me, that my preparations were affected by my exhaustion. Like I could not study for longer periods anymore, and any in any case you need to study a lot of stuff very regularly in IIT JEE exam. You can't just be like 3 दिन पहले पढ़ा और blurt कर दिया. That will never work. So I tried my best, but I did not do as well in the IIT JEE exam, obviously. So then I ended up in a second year college called IIST Shipur, which is good, but which is not as good as IITs. And at that time, I was not ready to settle for anything less. So that is where I think, the first big kind of failure, you can say, of my life. And it really affected me. I was, so because at that time, that was my world. What's my image in front of people, and how well I could prove to myself that I'm good. So these two things were very important for me. And at that time, both were severely hurt because I could not prove to myself enough to be in IIT. And then other people will also say stuff now. That's what I thought. 2-3 months, just sat at home and did nothing. Like you can call it a small phase of depression, but just a phase. I was not doing anything serious after that. But till those 2-3 months, I was very sad. In fact, I also tried attempting suicide, which is very severe for something so small, Just IIT JEE, I could not clear well. So not a big deal. But at that time, it was a big deal. So after all this happened, my parents almost forced me to take admission into this college. I was not ready, but then my parents told me that you have to take admission. You won't allow you to drop a year. You take admission anywhere, then you do whatever you want to do. And for the first time since my parents were forcing me to do something, I thought that let's agree. What's the point in disagreeing with them for the first time when they are saying something so firmly? So I took admission there, and I filled the IIT JEE form for the next year. But when in college, I was so angry with my result that I wanted to prove something to myself. And for that, I thought that I'll become the best all-rounder in college, and then I'll clear IIT the next year also. So, to prove that I'm really good and I'm not as bad as it's shown in the results this year. So I joined all the clubs in college, the debate club, the drama club, photography club, everything. And when I joined all these clubs, obviously very exploratory activities were there, because in school I had never explored photography, I had never explored debate, nothing. So in school I had just studied and avoided everything else apart from playing outside without any pressure. So I used to play, but I was never like in a sports team of sorts. I was just playing without any pressure, so just to enjoy. But here I started to explore stuff, music, dance, drama, everything. And I was really liking it. So firstly, I started to make a lot of new friends. That's something I really liked in the college. Second is that I was doing decently well in studies there also because of my past record. And participating in different activities, I was also getting some laurels. So I won the second prize in freshers debate, which was huge motivation for me. Okay, I did my first debate and I won the second prize, like that. So post that, when there was a business plan competition advertisement I saw on daretocompete.com. I remember the website's name also. uh,
Great. Yes.
where I saw an advertisement for a business plan competition at NIT Silchar,
Mm-hmm.
and I was very enthusiastic to participate in that also. At that
Mm-hmm.
time, my whole motive of participating in that or any other activity was that I'll win all these
Mm-hmm.
competitions, I'll get a lot of certificates, I'll prove my mettle to myself and become a really good all-rounder. In fact, the best all-rounder in this college. And
Mm-hmm.
so to apply, you need an idea, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I did not have it. So I started discussing with my friends.
Mm-hmm.
Why have you chosen mechanical, civil, this, that, engineering? Because
Mm-hmm.
I had started figuring out at that point. In first year, you have classes for computer science.
Yes.
So I had started learning computer science on my own a bit. And I
Mm-hmm.
figured out I'm not even interested in this,
Okay.
which was another shock for me. Because at that juncture, I started to become a bit confused. I have to give JEE Main next year.
Mm-hmm.
And I am also doing all these activities in college. So,
Mm-hmm.
it also seemed to me like I'm settling down a bit here. I have made
Mm-hmm.
friends. I have started to
Mm-hmm.
participate in a lot of activities here. I'm also scoring decent CGPA, which I don't really need to score if I'm so confident that I will go to another college
Mm-hmm.
post this year.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I was also not interested in computer science. So what's the deal here? I have myself chosen it.
Mm-hmm.
So then I started to ask my friends, and most of them had reasons very similar to me. Why did they choose this particular stream?
Most of them are confused.
Yeah, that
Most of them are
nobody
confused.
that nobody knew why they had chosen this.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them either had heard it from someone and felt really fascinated by the image
Mm-hmm.
created by it.
Yes.
The external image, the external
most of
image
the
of
most of the people are just like accustomed with the outer surrounding, how they are like how that career is being projected to them, and the way the people like talk about that career. Like if you are a computer engineer, and like if you go to like if parents talk about you in a way like mera beta computer engineer, so like people are accustomed to that image which people are projecting them,
hmm,
rather than the core interest of what that field can bring into the table. So
very
like
true.
most of the people like in my college also, and my including myself also, like I was also not sure like what will I do, but like obviously na ki, something has to do with your strength at first. Like you can't like play at your weakness on the first go and then just like go play something else. You have to start with your strength. Like if you are in a college, like I was in the college, so I thought ki like ab main kya hai, matlab what can I do from here.
Hmm,
मतलब आई एम हायर तो आई कुड नॉट लाइक मैं इसको मतलब क्विट तो अभी नहीं कर सकता. लाइक आई एम नॉट इन अ स्टेट टू लाइक जस्ट गो एंड क्विट एंड लाइक डू समथिंग एल्स, बिकॉज अभी आई डोंट नो दैट आल्सो व्हाट आई विल डू. So what is
yeah.
the point of quitting like at this point when I'm not sure about what I will do? So I was also like figuring out business stuffs, many things. Then like I ended up doing a creative job. Like I'm a UI UX designer and a front end developer. So like this thing, just like I was good in you can say drawing, like drawing and art in when I was in my early days of school. But I left that thing just because I have to like because people said that there is no career like matlab isme there is nothing as such as sort of a career to pursue in something like arts and design. But now if you ask me like if there is a career, everything which a creative person does is related to like he is designing something, he is creating an art. It may be matlab the forms are different, but the end goal is always the process is through that design and art only. And also like how did you overcome that the bullying which you had while you were in school?
So it was very simple. I figured out. So let me tell you an incident first, then I'll tell you, how
Mm,
these incidents shaped my understanding of bullying and how to overcome it.
mm,
So obviously, you can see that, like most of the people in India, I think at least 50%, if not more, I am also a bit dusky
mm,
in color, in
mm,
skin color.
mm,
So in North India, that means Kala.
mm,
Kala, Kaluta, Kallan, and whatever you can call. So I don't know who teaches them this. Probably the parents. I don't know, or they see something in the society. Kids
mm,
can't learn this on their own. Firstly, I think
mm,
so. So definitely somebody is teaching them this, or they are
mm,
indirectly learning it from the way either their
mm,
parents behave or the people
mm,
around them behave. which I think needs to change. The elders need to set a better example for their kids and for the kids around them. So yeah, that's how I learned to, and I think that has helped me. That has really helped me in many different walks of life, because when today also, when there are people in front of me who are really unfavorable, and unfavorable in an unfair way. I am doing all the right things, but then they are just unfavorable because they don't like it, or their opinion is polluted by very wrong logic. So you still have to do work with them, right? But you still have to live with them. So in that case, you just you don't take to heart a lot of the things that they say about you or about your work, and you just continue trying to do your best with them and trying to make a good relationship. Ultimately, sometimes also what happens is that unfavorable opinion turns to a favorable one through your efforts. But even then, from whatever I have learned, I have benefited. I won't deny that. At the same time, still, I don't think this is the right method to learn. If I would not have been faced with bullying, I think it would have been a better childhood that I would have had, even better childhood that I would have had. So I don't really warrant this should be an experience for every kid. Yes, you should definitely face some challenging circumstances. But when I say challenging, it can be a very different kind of challenge. It does not need to be so hostile like bullying or like racism. Because a child also learns. For a long time, I believed that I am of a worse color than people who are fair in complexion. I figured out much later that this is okay. Everyone can have a different complexion and they need to be proud of it. I figured out much later. So a child's mind really gets polluted with all these things, and then sometimes there's no way back. So for me, thankfully, it was, as a coincidence of time. Maybe I learned quite a lot of things which helped me come back from this. But in a lot of times, there's no way back, and then you take that to your adulthood as well. You take that to your deathbed as well. Sometimes it's difficult to get out of it so easily. So rather, we should spread as much awareness as we can, and we should not we should make sure that no child faces this.
And actually, like these things instills in us for a very long time. Like if someone has bullied you, or like someone has like talk bad things about you in front of you, then like you will forget everything. But if that incident just like flashes by a second, you will remember everything. So like it has it can have the cause a very negative impact on a person if he is like how you mentioned, like if he is not able to like come out of it in the right time. It would be like hard for him to like go about it. Okay.
Very
And
true.
like why did you thought like that career counseling is your cup of tea? Like you just you started in your like second year, right? Second year or like third year?
I had this idea in my first year only. So I'll
Okay.
just quickly continue the story where I left off from. So in my first year, when I had this business plan competition advertisement in front of me. So you remember, right? I was asking my different friends about why did they join mechanical civil, this, that. And a lot of them did not have a clue like me. So like I joined because I felt I would be good at computer programming because of my computer troubleshooting skills, fixing small problems.
Yes,
So
yes.
similarly, a lot of the people with me thought, as we were discussing, no, because of the outer image, they thought that this is a way for them to get out of their current financial situation, or from their current overall family situation. So they thought that yes, money is here, there's good status, there's good respect in the society, I should become this. They did not think about the work at all. That what does information technology enclose? What does civil engineering enclose? What does mechanical engineering enclose? They did not think about that. And we all discussed and we all came up with the solution that, we should have career guidance for kids in school, for like high school students, for middle school students, so that by the time they are in class 12, they have figured out what they really want to do because of their interest, because of their ability, not because of what the external image of it seems like. And then they become the best in that, so that they can also then accomplish the things that they really want to, like the money, the status, everything, the personal satisfaction from achieving impact. So initially, I submitted an executive summary in that business plan competition of making a brick and mortar school that will provide students with career-based courses. Now, what were these career-based courses? So we would have different courses on subjects like entrepreneurship, journalism, law. Basically, any career that you can take up would be a course, a short-term course on our website. And then a student can come and explore Like they can take a subscription on the platform and then they can explore that, okay, I'll see what entrepreneurship is, I'll see what marketing is, this, that. And then they would, by doing it, only realize that what they want to do in the coming future. So that was the plan. And because I did not have actually money for the brick and mortar school, and then again, a website also I was thinking of making. So all these things were a bit impossible only for me to do at that point in time. And the judges pointed that out, that you have told all this, but will you be actually able to do this? I was like, no. But like, then why are you pitching this? So I figured out over time that I should pitch something that I can actually do very soon. So then I started pitching just the website part of it, that I'll make a website where there will be different courses. So it will not be a school where they receive career guidance. It will just be this website, because I don't have money to make a school, but I do have money and enough resources to create a website with courses. And I started proceeding, participating in a lot of business plan competitions. So eventually my idea kept improving. Uh, I had a school, where I wanted to provide career guidance. From that, I had a website where I was providing like these career-based courses. Then I had, so initially I thought that in this website, we'll have just person-facing videos. But later on, since I was not very confident to do person-facing videos at that time.
So like, why did you thought that career counseling is your cup of tea? Like, how you figured out a way ki like career counseling is important, and it was just an idea that came out to your mind, or it was like you were keenly interested to improve as an option?
Yeah, so let me continue the story that I was, just telling. So you remember, right, that in first year I was asking these people why they had joined mechanical, why they had joined civil engineering, why I had joined information technology. I was also figuring out because of this business plan competition advertisement. So there, when the answers I started getting, I figured out that most of these people have joined their respective streams because of societal stereotypes. They had formed an image that made them believe that if I join any form of engineering, and especially this form of engineering, I'll come out earning a lot of good money, I'll be settled in life, I'll have good societal status, I'll have good respect from people around me. And that is something that they really wanted to get. So the externalities of that career really attracted them, and then they went on with it. But most of them did not even have a clue, including me, that what will happen in the second year. What kind of jobs will I actually get? What will be my work? So all these things we didn't have a clue about. And that is when all of us thought that if we would have received career guidance in school level, then we would have been much better off. We would have been able to explore a lot of different career options and then make the right choice, which would have been on the basis of our interest and our ability, and not on the basis of our societal stereotypes or of our image of that career externally. So because of that, I pitched an idea of a brick and mortar school that will provide career-based courses to students. Now, what will those career-based courses be? So each student will have a lot of electives that they can choose from, like entrepreneurship, law, journalism, automobile technology, etc., which are all basically career options that they can pursue in the future. So there will be short-term courses in their school that they can take up, and then they can explore that what happens in this career option. Over time, as they're exploring, they'll be able to figure out what they really like doing and what they're really interested in. And then they'll choose that career option in the future on the basis of their interest and ability. And since they have interest and ability in that, they'll be able to become the best in that or one of the best in that in the future, which will also allow them to earn a decent amount of money and respect. So that's what the idea was. And I submitted this executive summary. I participated in the business plan competition. And I lost that business plan competition. But there were two things. So one was that for the first time after losing, I wasn't really demotivated, because usually that's who I am, or I was rather. That whenever I lost anything or whenever I got lesser marks in school or something bad happened with me, basically, it was because of luck. कि मेरी किस्मत खराब है या टीचर ने कुछ गलती करी है, मतलब मेरी गलती नहीं है, बाकी सबकी गलती है. So I was that kind of a guy. But over time in college, maybe I matured, or maybe it was just that particular activity that really interested me, that I wasn't demotivated so much. In fact, I was ready to improve. I was ready to incorporate that feedback and make it better. So I started discussing this with a lot of people, and then somebody amongst those people told me that the web is the future. Why don't you actually take it to the web? Because anyway, you don't have money to create a real school, and you don't even have the political backing for it. So pitch something that you can really do in the coming future and very soon that you can do. I said, okay, that makes sense. So I started then pitching a website which will have these career-based courses online so that students can take it for very less price from anywhere, and then they can explore and uh, figure out what they really want to do. When I started pitching this idea, I started winning a few business plan competitions, and this went on. So this was my first year. Then I continued this in second year, third year, and fourth year. I continued participating in business plan competitions. And as I was participating in business plan competitions, I figured out that to answer the question that these judges asked me, I have to know a little bit more about entrepreneurship, about education. So I started doing online courses from edX, Coursera, etc. And while doing these courses, I also figured out that I'm really interested in these fields because I was pursuing something because of my own interest for the first time. In school, I used to score marks because I had to. I wanted that percentage on the board rather than my interest in studying those subjects. And then there were exams. So the exams pushed me to study. My parents, in a way, pushed me to study. Not forced me, pushed me because I don't want to kind of, complain about them too much also in a podcast. And actually, they did not force me anything. Then in college, again, when the exams came, I was studying for the exams. I was studying to get that degree. So everywhere there was something external which I was held accountable to. Only in business plan competitions, I was, participating with my own will, and I was learning something with my own will. Neither my parents had asked me to do this, neither my teachers had asked me to do this, but I was doing it. So I figured out that I'm really interested. I'm genuinely studying these things myself. So I would rather do this in the future rather than actually pursuing something that I'm not interested in, that is computer engineering. And by that time, I had figured out even more that I'm not at all interested. I was not studying the subjects with, a lot of zeal or with a lot of passion. Yeah. So that is how I figured out I want to do career guidance and I want to take this startup ahead. So till the fourth year, I won a lot of business plan competitions. I lost a lot of business plan competitions. This kept on going. And in fourth year, I decided I don't want to take up a job. I want to start right now because I have the energy and I have the youth and what to say, I don't have any financial pressure right now on me. I have an elder brother at home, so he can contribute to the family. My father was also working at that time, so he can contribute to the family. So I have the leeway to take this risk because my parents don't exactly need money from me at this juncture. So that was a big support system for me because if I would have been probably the elder brother in my family, I would have had to wait till launching the startup, but I would have launched it anyway. But here I could do it very quickly. Here I could do it just after college. So I thought that if my family status and if my family current financial stability has given me that chance, I should definitely take it up and see if I can help my family progress in that as well, plus pursue something of my passion, plus make a real impact in the society through my work. So after fourth year, even after my father did not like this decision very much, so he was opposite to it, but still he did not like force me to stay. You have to take up a job. So there he was like that, I am telling you, you take up a job, but you then take your own decision. You bear your own consequences. So I took up the startup. I started it finally. I was very happy to take it full time. And even after taking it full time, I kind of realized a lot of things uh, that helped me grow as a person and helped me grow as an entrepreneur.
How was your basically the first success story, like, or your first experience counseling a student?
It was really good. So the first experience of counseling a student came immediately after starting up only. So for the first 2 to 3 months, I do remember that it was a very difficult journey after starting it full time because in college, I was just participating in business plan competitions. I had a website with 1 or 2 courses on it. And I had a Facebook page, a YouTube channel. I hadn't sold anything. So I was just making stuff. But after college is when I really started up. So that's why I don't count these college years as starting up. I just count them as something I was building upon. Like, I was building up on my knowledge. I was building up on the ability to create a website, to create some courses. I was learning how to do all this stuff. But when you start selling is when you start up. So that happened after my fourth year when I went full time into it. And when I started to approach schools to sell them this offering, that's when I figured out how hard it is. It's not as easy as just winning a few business plan competitions because they'll maybe give you a prize for a good idea and a good presentation, but in reality, that's not enough. So when I went out in schools it was a vicious cycle. So the guard wouldn't let me enter before getting an appointment. If I email them to get an appointment, nobody would reply. If I call them, then the call wouldn't proceed beyond first, uh, their front office.
Mhm.
So it was a very difficult thing. How do I get through to the principal in the first place? They're not letting me in only. Uh,
Mhm.
so 2-3 months I was stuck in this vicious cycle and I could not make a buck. I
Mhm.
was, out of all money that I had saved up by doing different part-time jobs in college. So I also did freelance writing in college. I taught home tuition. I won a few
Mhm.
scholarships here and there. Uh, because I knew that after college, I won't have a lot of money like other people because they'll be doing jobs. So they'll be getting a monthly
Mhm.
salary. I have never worked a job per se.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I will need money. And even though my parents have allowed me to start up, they can't really contribute to it because we are not
Mhm.
that well off also.
Mhm.
So I finished my money by the first 3 months. And
Mhm.
then it was a really tough journey ahead for me because now I have finished my money. uh, I have to generate it either through my startup or through some part-time job that I do. If I do a
Mhm.
part-time job, then it will be taking away time from my startup. Then it will defeat the
Mhm.
purpose of why I went full-time in the first place.
Mhm. Mhm.
And if I do it full-time, then where will the money come from?
Mhm.
At least for the initial days, where my startup is not immediately earning a lot of money.
Mhm.
So I figured out that I'll have to start with free career counseling because nobody trusts a 22-year-old guy just out of college without even a degree in education to provide career counseling to their children. But I knew
Mhm.
that I can do it.
Mhm.
So I started testing my career counseling out. So I wrote a few scripts that I'll do this with the child and this with the child. And then I started going to schools that see I'll start providing free career counseling. Even then I wasn't allowed to enter. So I started using LinkedIn, cold emailing, all that. I tried really hard and then some people started responding because my
Mhm.
college was really good. So because of that college name, some of them thought that this guy can do it. And when I went to schools, I started receiving a really good response. So the first counseling session that I ever did was in a school in Kerala, and it was a really good school. It's called Deepal International Residential School. It's in Idukki,
Mhm.
and I went there 3 months after all this stuff. So just had finished my money, and
Mhm.
uh, I still remember when I went to that school. It was really in the corner of Idukki, so very
Mhm.
difficult for me to reach there. It was heavily raining. When I reached the place, um, it was so heavily raining that I was anywhere drenched in water. Secondly, I did not have the full money to pay for even the person who took me there. So then the teacher came and the teacher was like from the school that was like she was like, "Here, what happened?" So I told her that, "Ma'am, I'm just falling short of a few rupees. Can you give this person that?" So she gave the last, I think, 50 to 100 rupees for my ride. So that's how
Mhm.
broke I was back then. Uh,
Mhm.
and I provided career guidance there for the first time. Really nice kids. I really liked the setup there, and it
Mhm.
was really exciting for me to wake up every day and to help students out and what uh,
Mhm.
in discovering what they really like doing and in clarifying their career related doubts, because then students would come up with really some fancy career options
Mhm.
which sounded fancy, but
Mhm.
if I actually told them what the job profile was, maybe they wouldn't choose it. So like a student said that I want to become an anesthetist.
Mhm.
When I told him what that actually is, then he was like, "No, no, I don't want to become this. I thought it's really cool." So a lot of times this happened, that students came up with names that sound really cool as career options,
Mhm.
but then when I
Mhm.
told them what it actually does, so probably they
Mhm.
weren't interested in the activity
Mhm.
that they need to do to become that. So yeah,
Mhm.
it was really good experience, and plus I got to stay in another place. That school was a residential school, so I also got my own room for the next 3-4 days when I was providing them with career counseling. I
Mhm.
used to eat with those kids. They used to come to my room to ask stuff. So it was really nice. And over time, when I kept getting these experiences, that helped me learn a lot about career counseling, about uh, education, about what students really need. Because till the time you are making business plans, it's very, it's from the top level. You are not able to see the kids actually. But when you are
Yes,
working on
yes.
ground with them, it
Mhm.
really helps you to understand what they actually need and then incorporate it into the business plan. So for 2-3 months, I did that for free. Uh,
Mhm.
so over time, I also increased my school base. So by the
Mhm.
next 3 months, I
Mhm.
was doing career counseling in about 6 to 8 schools and
Mhm.
NGOs, so
Mhm.
including both. So I was doing it at Parikrama Humanity Foundation. I did one session with Goodwill English High School, etc., etc. So I was doing different counseling sessions here and there. And after 6 months, so because of two things, one, I visited an event where my strategy to try and get a contract was that anytime a speaker would speak and get off stage, so the speaker would usually be a principal or the CEO of some NGO or CSR initiative, I would quickly run towards them and explain to them very fast what I do. That, hello, ma'am, my name is Aditya Bose. I'm the founder of Probano. I provide career guidance to high school students. I would like blurt everything out that I've remembered. And then some of them who were interested would, see that this kid is very passionate and, very energetic. So then they would give me their business card that, okay, email me. Acha, where did I learn this from? I learned this from my college only. Because in college, I used to go to these NASCOM meetings in Salt Lake.
Yes.
So there I used to see that anytime a speaker speaks and comes off stage, so there it was usually an investor or a bigger entrepreneur. Everyone would run towards him or her and, ask for a business card, introduce themselves. So that is where I learned it. So these experiences also sometimes really help you. And there also the good part with being a student is you get entry everywhere for free and everybody wants to help you. So these NASCOM meetings were also free for us. I never paid a penny to enter them. Then this event that I'm talking about, that was a good event, a big event. But I did not pay to get into it because I had basically, contacted the organizers and told them that, see, I'm just a student. I've recently graduated. Can you give me a student pass? So after a long persuasion, they actually gave me that, and I could attend the event. So yeah, when you're a student, everybody wants to help you. That also was pivotal in my journey because if I would not have gotten to that event, so like this, I was also pitching to the CEO of Bharti Foundation, Mamta ma'am, and she really liked the pitch. So she was like that, okay, you send me your brief and I'll see what I can do. So I sent her the brief and she forwarded it to one of the people in her team. And he contacted me. He asked me everything about my career counseling, but then he did not contact me ever again. So I kept following up, but he never picked up my call. So I thought that, okay, maybe he's disinterested now. So towards the end of this 6-month period, 3 months being caught in the vicious cycle and then 3 months providing career counseling to different schools and NGOs for free. During this period, I was also following up with him. So then he called back once and he told me that there is a potential project that I want you to be a part of. So can you provide career guidance to a few schools in Telangana? I said, how many? He told me like 24. I got so excited because till now I was providing career guidance for free to a lesser number of schools. Now I'm getting a paid contract. So I was so happy that, when he asked me for the price, I calculated the airfare to Telangana. I calculated the travel cost it would take me. I did not even calculate the salary I will take from this program. And then I picked the cost as the price, which came out to be somewhere like 30 rupees per student. So I think for the first time in the history of negotiations, this must have happened. He called me and he told me, Aditya, we don't really believe that in 30 rupees per student, you'll be able to do a good job. You increase the price, you make it 45. Then I made it 45 and I made it like 80 rupees for North Indian projects because I was staying in Bangalore at that time. Then eventually after talks, we shifted. So we thought that, let's do the Telangana project later. Let's do the Delhi and the Haryana project earlier. So in Delhi and Haryana, we had like 52 schools, which we had to cover. And I signed my first contract at that time, a paid contract. Then I also felt, so good that now I can at least take loans. I won't feel guilty for doing so. So if I have to execute a 3 lakh project, I can maybe take a loan of 80,000 mixed by my father and my brother or somebody else, and then I can return them back the money within a month or two because I'll get the money later, right? So it was a lot of freedom and it was a lot of happiness. I incorporated my company in January 2018 after the first 6 months of initial struggle. It was, to be honest, when I say struggle, a lot of people face a lot more struggle than this. And obviously, struggle is not exclusive to anyone. But at the same time, I think even this small struggle that I faced taught me a lot. And that's why I love this field of entrepreneurship because here you have the opportunity to see all this. I would have never faced lack of money if I would have taken up a job because born and brought up in a middle class, lower middle class family, you never really have the chance to see any, bigger voids in your life. Like, you don't have any options for entertainment, or you don't have any options for eating 4 square meals a day. You have all that. It's just that for the bigger expenses you struggle a bit. कि अच्छे कपड़े नहीं खरीद सकते, but कपड़े है, कपड़ों की कमी नहीं है. TV, cable TV है आपके घर में. So we had all the basic things at home. We never struggled for that. We struggled for like higher. कि अगर मुझे तबला सीखना है तो पेरेंट्स ने मना कर दिया. That was the kind of thing we had to see. So I never really saw lack of money as such. उसके बाद कॉलेज में भी parents were paying my fee. By the time I was in the third year, I was earning myself also a little bit. But after college, since I wanted to become an entrepreneur, so I had to face all this. I had to travel in buses for free. I had to walk long, like 6 to 10 kilometers every day. I had to, for a long time, I had to stay off one meal a day in the morning. I used to eat a lot, and then I used to go out and not eat throughout the day. So I was getting really thin also. So during those first 6 months, I faced these things, and these things taught me a lot about life. That, everything is not about money and about chasing social status. It's also about where you really see impact happening. You struggle for that, and that delayed gratification really helps you. That helps you learn a lot. So yeah, I feel everyone should have an exposure, whether in school or college, to entrepreneurship, because that will teach them about life. So I learned a lot, and yeah, the first break was really satisfying. After the first 6 months, getting a contract worth something which is much higher than what I was even imagining at that point in time, and 52 schools at once. It was really satisfying and really a good happy moment for me. Then I also incorporated my startup, which was another happy moment for me.
And what is the story behind that Ronnie sir sharing the magazine with you had on the cover?
Yeah, so that's basically, so I'm incubated at AIC BIMTech right now, at an incubation center. So, they just put me on the cover page in this year's magazine that they published. And I think Upgrad is partners with BIMTech. So they were having this meeting probably where Ronnie sir was the guest. So, BIMTech had sent that magazine to him also. So then he held it up, and, probably he read a few pages of it as well. I hope so. So that is where it happened. And, one of my known persons in the incubation center only took a nice screenshot of it. And it looked so good, I felt like posting it. I also hope I get to meet him sometime soon and hopefully invest in my startup. That would be great.
Actually, he's a great human.
Yeah, great successful entrepreneur. Has worked in the entertainment sector, now is doing really well in the tech sector, has so much experience. So
like
would really love to meet him.
he is a person like who is like switching fields like anything. He's one time in another sector, another time he's in another sector, and equally doing good in every sector he goes.
Very true. Very true.
Yes. And like, what are the career options people have after 12th? Like, if you go to career counseling, like, what are the career options you tell them? Like, these are the options you can have as a career option in future.
I tell them all the options, and sometimes I face a little bit of opposition also from the schools or from the body that I'm working with, because people don't like it. People don't like change, and it's okay. I think that's why we are here, to convince them that it is important to initiate change while bringing them on board and not upsetting them also. So, as an example, if I go to a rural area, I tell them about all career options. I don't just tell them about diplomas or ITIs. I tell them about college degrees also. And then many people ask me, sir, आपने बताया डॉक्टर, आपने बताया इंजीनियर, क्या फायदा, इनके पास तो पैसे ही नहीं है वो डिग्री करने के. Then I give them examples कि यार बहुत लोग हैं जिन्होंने स्कॉलरशिप लेकर, जिन्होंने पैसे बचाकर, जिन्होंने लोन्स लेकर ये डिग्रीज करी है, then they have been able to take out their families out of the current financial situation that they are in. तो सपने देखना नहीं सीखोगे तो आप कुछ बड़ा अचीव भी नहीं करोगे. अगर इनको डिप्लोमा और आईटीआई के बारे में ही बताना होता तो आप लोग ही बता देते ना, फिर मेरी क्या जरूरत थी. I came all the way down here from Delhi. So initially I used to kind of travel from school to provide career guidance. And मैंने वही देखा कि लोगों का एक नजरिया है कि इनकी रीच में जो है आप इन्हें वही बताइए बस. They don't think about expanding the child's reach में भी. क्या पता अगर बच्चे को पता चल जाए कि वो लॉयर बन सकता है तो वो एड़ी चोटी का जोर लगा दे अच्छी परसेंटेज लाने में, एक अच्छा स्कॉलरशिप सिक्योर करने में. And maybe he actually becomes a lawyer later. And if he becomes that, obviously he'll be able to take out his family from the village that they are in, or at least maybe keep the family in the village that they are in, but in a much better financial situation.
We also
That is
don't know
very
na, because my belongings are from village also. So you don't know like if they are residing in village, they might have a good sum of money in terms of if you are talking about financial thing. But it is just that like they are not aware of the career options they can pursue, because everyone don't have like a bigger brother or like a person who can guide you through them to the career options they can have. But more like there is an option like which you said like कि मतलब, there is an option like people can pursue career options if tell them like अगर वही ना कि सर से एड़ी तक का जोर लगा दिया तो फिर like they can also do something on it. अच्छी
I'll quickly tell you a story here. So I went to a Rajasthan village school. So I was doing a career counseling session there. I just told them like basic career options because एक घंटे में आप कितना ही cover कर लोगे. So I just told them like teacher, engineer, doctor, lawyer, pilot, army, air force, this that. I told them about everything. And then this one child came to me, sir, thank you so much for being the guiding light in our life. I thought maybe he's just kind of helping me be more cheerful, and I'm not sure whether he has understood anything in the session. So I asked him कि अच्छा आपको ऐसा क्यों लगा कि this session helped you out? So he told me, sir, my father works in the stone cutting factory nearby, and he's a daily wage laborer. So obviously he told all this in Hindi, and a lot of us were thinking that we'll become daily wage laborers there only. But when you came and when you told us that there are so many professional courses that exist, we haven't really decided what we want to become yet, because there's just a session that you did with us. But we definitely have decided, all of us, and we were talking amongst ourselves while you were delivering the session, that we will do something from this only. We'll not become daily wage laborers anymore. अब कुछ भी हो जाए मैं पत्थर तो नहीं तोड़ूंगा. That's what he told in Hindi. So I asked him, as a matter of fact, what's your percentage that you got in 11th class? He was a 12th class kid. He told somewhere around 70 something, 75 or 73. And I was shocked because in Delhi, if you get even 40%, you never think of becoming a daily wage laborer. There's some disconnect. In villages, even if they're getting 70%, they are not being shown enough options. So they want to become, what is next best to them? What is something that they are seeing? So they are seeing that, okay, father is doing a daily wage labor job, I'll also do that. So it is very important to spread even that basic awareness. And I could see that day the power of even, giving them a very basic career counseling session. See, I did not tell them about stand-up comedy or dolphin training or like advanced career options like that. But at least, they got an option to explore so many different careers. And maybe, some of them have actually become that. So this is very important. And when people say, why don't you just tell them about diplomas and ITIs? My answer to them is that I'll tell them about everything. I'll tell them about diplomas also. I'll tell them about ITIs also. And I'll then tell them about different colleges that they can be in. And I'll also tell them about the performing arts careers. अगर पंकज त्रिपाठी इतने छोटे गांव से आकर एक्टर बन सकते हैं, तो इनमें से कोई क्यों नहीं बन सकता? We have to give them that chance. इंडिया ओलंपिक में कम मेडल्स इसलिए तो जीत रहा है क्योंकि हम रिस्क लेने को तैयार नहीं है कि स्पोर्ट्स में फेल भी तो हो सकते हैं, तो हम फेल ही नहीं करेंगे. हम कुछ ऐसा करियर ऑप्शन
जिसमें फेलिंग का चांस कम,
हाँ, जिसमें ऐसा हो कि आप एवरेज होकर भी ठीक ठाक कमा सकते हो. तो पेरेंट्स and the society in general is so scared to take any risk. That's why for a long time we had very less entrepreneurs in our country. Today, to be honest, the risk of becoming an entrepreneur has also lowered to an extent, right? There's more funding in the market, so that's why parents are also allowing after a long questioning round. But if you want to win a Nobel Prize or if you want to become an Olympian, it's still very difficult because उसके लिए risk लेना पड़ेगा. Maybe you work your whole life and you don't become an Olympian or you don't become a Nobel Prize. तो उसी रिस्क से इतना डरता है हमारा सोसाइटी कि वो वैसे करियर ऑप्शन सजेस्ट ही नहीं करना चाहता. वो बोलता है बेटा डिप्लोमा कर लो उससे बेटर. So how will we grow? So it's very important to tell all the options to a student because a majority of them won't have such big dreams, which is okay. So they can then pursue the easily accessible ones. But for the ones who have bigger dreams, we should cater to them as well. So that's my model of career counseling. We give all the career options in front of them. And we are not like, yacha, we can't detect your ability in comedy or your ability in some sports through our aptitude test. So we'll not tell you that. We tell them that. And then we also tell them how they can understand their aptitude in these fields so that they can decide if they want to pursue it or not in the future.
That's a good point. The capability of any human being is not like decided where he or she lives. Like they can always go to an extent where we and you also have not imagined. It is just their
True.
curiosity and like intent by which they want to execute their dreams or like their vision. And like if
True.
one person like अगर एक इंसान भी गांव से सही निकल जाता है तो मतलब होता है ना कि like what I've realized like कि if a single person is being educated like अगर वो एक अच्छे लेवल तक पढ़ लेता है तो मतलब आगे के दो तीन पुश्तें सही हो जाती है
वो तो
मतलब एक
है.
नॉर्मल चीज से तो निकल ही जाएगा फिर ये रहेगा कि हाउ ही एजुकेट्स हिज नेक्स्ट जनरेशन तो वो कैसा अपब्रिंगिंग ले जाती है मतलब वो फिर एक बैटन रेस हो जाती है लेकिन हाँ एक लीग से तो हट ही जाता है वो चीज
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
व्हाट डू यू थिंक लाइक व्हाई राइट करियर गाइडेंस इज इम्पोर्टेंट और अगर जैसे मतलब people can say ना मतलब मैं भी बोल सकता हूँ कि like I can figure things out myself like I don't need a career guidance so like how it is different if I get a career guidance at an earlier level and if I get a career like if I don't get a career guidance so what is the major difference which brings to the table if career guidance is given.
Yeah, that's a very good question, Asif. In fact, a lot of people ask this to me. Ki,
Mhm.
I'm so there would be a successful person who would say that, see, I also
Mhm.
figured out what I want to do, right? And I'm very happy with it. So
Mhm.
why can't a kid figure this out on his own or on her own?
Mhm. Mhm.
And my answer to that is it's not a very good logic because when when you catch cold, let's take that
Mhm.
example. When you catch cold, if you don't go for a routine checkup,
Mhm.
it might turn out to be pneumonia. It might turn out to be something way more serious than initial cough and cold.
Mhm.
But to catch that symptom as a symptom
Mhm.
of something bigger, you have to go to the doctor. Maybe that thing
Mhm.
extends for a while, which you don't expect it to, because you think कि
Mhm.
चलो सर्दी हुई है 3 दिन में चली जाएगी, हो सकता है वो 1 महीने रह जाए, and your
Mhm.
whole month is hampered. So it's very important to go to the doctor. अब कहने को तो
Mhm.
इंडिया में हर घर में एक डॉक्टर है कि बेटा ये कर ले,
Mhm.
बेटा वो कर ले. हर घर में एक
Mhm.
डॉक्टर है जो somebody elder from the family who will give all the nuskhas. But
Mhm.
it's still very important to go to the doctor because the doctor is a trained professional in this.
Mhm.
So similarly, career counseling maybe it's very similar. That if you have a career confusion right now, but your
Mhm.
parent or your society, some elderly uncle gives their viewpoint on it, they'll represent how many careers in front of you: 5, 10, 15, maximum 20, and that's it. Anybody who tells me that they'll tell you more career options than that is lying because I've never seen that happening. People will use very little on very little basis for offering career choice. So what they'll do is उनका बेटा जिस फील्ड में सक्सेसफुल है, they'll either
Mhm.
offer that career choice to you कि आप ये बन जाओ, इस फील्ड में मेरा बेटा सक्सेसफुल है, this field has a lot of scope.
Mhm.
और पेरेंट्स विल सजेस्ट सम फील्ड जिसमें कोई चाचा या मामा का लड़का या कोई चाचा या मामा इज सक्सेसफुल,
Mhm.
or they'll just suggest from the pool of career options that they know about in the current society. They have not researched even once,
Mhm.
but they feel that they know. So very
Mhm.
recently also I faced this question that people in my family are educated, why can't we provide career guidance? And just educated is not good enough. you
Mhm.
know it's almost like saying that I am educated, why can't I do my own surgery? You need trained professionals for that. And a lot of people, so let's go back to the initial discussion we were having. This will really help clarify a lot of doubts around this question. You remember you were telling me कि कई बार आप कोई career option choose कर देते हो और आपने एक बार डिग्री परस्यू करना स्टार्ट कर लिया, यू कांट रियली क्विट इट मिडवे बिकॉज आपको पता है कि आपके पेरेंट्स उसमें पैसा इन्वेस्ट कर चुके हैं, योर पेरेंट्स हैव इन्वेस्टेड a lot of their hopes on it. You can't just leave it in the middle, and especially when your parents are giving away a huge chunk of their hard earned money to you and your fees. So then you have to complete that degree. Now you get caught in a vicious cycle. I'll tell you how. Once you complete that degree, you feel ki now I can switch career options because I have at least completed that degree. But now your parents are expecting money because they have invested so much money, time, effort on you. And now they're also getting older. So maybe your parents are either about to retire or have already retired. And then they look to you for financial support. They have worked so hard to educate you, even in this situation. And then you have to work a job in a field that you're not interested in. 60% of people in India are dissatisfied from their jobs. If it was so easy to figure out what your passion is, what you're good at, stuff like that, then why are so many people are dissatisfied from their jobs? And let me say another statistic here. Different reports have different statistics on this particular metric, but we can agree that majority of our graduates are unemployable. If you go to India Skills Report, it says more than 50% of them are unemployable. If you go to MHRD, it will say 75 to 85% of technical and general graduates are unemployable. So why is this happening? Do people in India not have the potential? No. Is the education system so bad? Yes, it has scope for improvement, but it is also not so bad. The main reason is lack of career guidance. This is what people are not understanding. If I'm not interested in a particular career, see, how good is Aditya Bose in IT, information technology, my major that I passed with a 7.73 GPA in college. I'm very bad at it because I passed exams, but I did not really learn it. Why did I not learn it? Were my professors bad? No. A lot of people from my college are doing extremely well in the same degree because um, they were mildly interested in it, or some of them were really interested in it, but most of us were not. So most of us, what did we do? Some of us did an MBA, some of us switched fields. So it was not down to the professors being bad. It was also not down to us not having potential. It was just because we were not interested in that field. So we did not study much. We did not upskill ourselves much. And teacher can only teach. It's up to you to learn. So if you don't have interest in that particular field, you'll not learn, you'll not grow, and as a result, you'll not become employable, or you'll not stay employable over a long period of time. That is what is happening with our graduates. They end up choosing something on the basis of societal stereotypes, on the basis of parental unfulfilled dreams. Then they end up in a job where they are dissatisfied. They end up in a career option where they don't even want to learn. So over time, they become unemployable. If career guidance is available at a young age, they'll be able to choose something which they're passionate about, which they really love doing, which they have the potential to become good at. And then, since they have the interest, they'll want to learn, they'll learn themselves, they'll upskill themselves, they'll become more employable, they'll find a purpose in their education, and they'll be more satisfied with their jobs. And this can happen early. We always rule out the possibility that this can happen early, but this can. A lot of people, so I figured out my passion very early because I explored a lot of stuff. So this is based on this model only, that if we help them explore stuff at a younger age, then definitely they can figure out what they're passionate about very early, and then they can avail, or leverage. Then they can do that to the maximum of their potential. They can become successful much earlier than what they might have to wait for, later on, because they have to switch, and they have to invest all that effort into switching. So a lot of these people who are dissatisfied from their jobs, 60%, they're not able to come back only because पहले डिग्री में फंस गए थे, उसके बाद जॉब में फंस गए. Now they have a lifestyle which they can't abstain from because they have a family which they have to support. तो अभी अचानक से कैसे क्विट करे जॉब और किसी दूसरे फील्ड में जाए, बिकॉज दूसरे फील्ड में जाने के लिए सीखना पड़ेगा. यू हैव टू टेक ऑफ सम टाइम, एंड यू माइट नॉट बी एबल टू अर्न एज मच इन दैट टाइम. उस टाइम पे पेरेंट्स क्या करेंगे? अगर उस टाइम तक शादी हो गई तो उस टाइम तक मेरे फैमिली क्या करेगी? तो इट बिकम्स अ विशियस साइकिल, and then some people are never able to get out of it. So it's not as easy. In India, we have to understand the context we are from. It's not as easy to switch careers for a lot of people. For some it is, but for a lot of people it isn't. And for them, I think it is very important to make the right career choice early. So yeah, that's why career guidance at the right age, very important.
And what is the process at Probano? Like how you guys what is the process at Probano?
So at Probano, we figured out that most of the career guidance firms or companies that exist in the market already, because over time I also figured out that this is not my idea. Even though I came across it very organically, there were other people doing it. I thought of two things. A, why did not it reach me? If it was already there in the market and I was studying in a private school, why did I not know that career guidance exists? That was one. So that means either they are doing very poor marketing, or something about them is off, that it could not reach me. Secondly, most of the career guidance companies that I saw around me did not have any tangibility to their process. Career guidance for them means that you get to sit with a career counselor and he'll solve all your problems, and then he'll give you a psychometric test on the basis of which some career options will be recommended to you. But what will be done by that counselor? What will the process be? Nobody knows. It's just like even if the professor or the career counselor sits with me and just tells me a bit of stuff which makes me feel motivated at that point in time, the child will be happy and ask his or her parents to pay. But did they really benefit? Did they really know what happened? No. So then we put tangible processes to making the right career choice. So we have gone ahead with self-exploration. Firstly, you need to know about yourself to make the right career choice, and we tell them what do they need to know. So we educate the child about taking the right decision rather than making him or her dependent on us to take the right decision for them. We help them in taking the decision, but we also teach them how to take that decision for themselves, which is the empowering factor. We put the student at the center of his or her career guidance and career decision. So self-exploration is what it starts with. How to make the right career choice and what do you need to know about yourself to make the right career choice. Then also how do you get to know those things, all these things. We then provide a psychometric test so that they can also receive some help from technology, from psychology to receive some recommended career options on the basis of their personality. Then they can also validate that, okay, what I thought about my personality, is this matching with what this report gives? If yes, then maybe I can start exploring from these career options. Then when their exploration journey starts, we give them career exploration. You should know the different career options available to you so that you make an informed choice. When we go to a restaurant, we don't order what's in our mind. We look at the menu card first. So we tell them the whole menu card of career options. Then once they have made the right career choice by mapping their own personality to a career option, that is when we give them career planning. So how do you plan your career path ahead? Just making a choice isn't enough. If you want to become a journalist, then which degree do you want to do? Which colleges do you want to aim for? Or which colleges can you realistically aim for? Then what percentage do you need to score in 12th? What percentage do you need to score in 10th just to maintain that momentum and maybe be eligible for some of the admission procedures in colleges? So we help them plan everything out. Once they have planned it, then we have also included skill enhancement, because there are 2 to 3 components of a career plan. One is the hard skill, journalism. One is the soft skill, which is required in every career option. And one is the eligibility criteria and the entrance examination, which there are different coaching centers to prepare you for. So for now, we have decided to focus on soft skill enhancement because that helps us provide transferable skills to a student that they can take with them to any job role. So even if 5-10 years down the line, career ecosystem completely changes, they are still relevant in the market because they have learned certain skills which they can still carry with themselves and which are still relevant. So that's what we are focusing on now. Now you might be thinking, Arey, you started off with career-based courses, you have stopped that only. Where are that entrepreneurship, law, journalism, those courses? So yes, to be honest, we have halted that for a while as of now, because we know that there are so many courses to make. It will take quite a lot of time for us to provide all the options to a student. And before we offer all the options to a student, we as a career guidance company can't just offer them 3 courses and say कि इसमें से choose कर लो और बाकी आपको कुछ choose करना है तो हमारे पास नहीं है. Because then it also creates an impression that we are supporting some certain career options. We are putting them over the other, which is not an impression we want to give students. So yeah, for now we are focusing on soft skill enhancement. And by the end of this process, a student has made an informed career choice, which is the right career choice for himself or herself. They have a career plan ready in front of them, which is something that they are very clear with and very motivated to follow. And then they have some skills with them. They are building some skills which will help them succeed and achieve their career goals.
So it was nice talking to you, Aditya. You can share your experience of how it was.
Sure. Firstly, I want to thank you, Asif. Thank you so very much, because shooting this podcast, I'm not sure how much you felt it, but I have kind of seen that how patient you have been through the whole process. There were background noises from here and there, sometimes from your end, sometimes from my end, and there were certain hiccups in starting. I was late, so you still were very patient in shooting the podcast and persisting with my really long answers. So thank you so much for that. And since I have already spoken a lot of words, you said a parting words, so I have already spoken a lot of words. So I would like to keep this limited to a short, quote that I heard from somewhere. I don't know who said it, but I really follow it in my life, and I say it everywhere I go because this is something I live by, which is dream big, work hard, and stay humble. So I feel this as a nice small quote of 6 words summarizes everything that you should do in life. So, if you have a manual of how to live life, I think this quote can just make it. that, try and achieve as much as possible, try and make as big an impact as possible. Then you work hard to actually do it. So when you have envisioned it, then you actually do it. You persist through all the difficulties to be able to really achieve what you have thought of. And when you achieve it, or while you are achieving it, then you also stay humble, or you don't think that other people are not putting in their bit of effort, or other people are not struggling, or other people are not making an impact. Everyone is, in their small or big way, everyone is. And if that person did not exist, then this world would be losing something. So respect everyone and be humble.
Thank you for tuning into this podcast. If I hope you found some value in the podcast. If you're listening it on Spotify, do subscribe. And if you're listening on YouTube, do like the video and subscribe the channel to never miss an insightful conversation like this. Until then, take care and I'll see you in the next podcast.